Hello, friends. So today we're here to talk about what's looking, the awareness that you call yourself, which funny, it is the self with a capital S. Your little self is the big self is the little self. There is no separation. So right where you are is the X marks the spot. You are the treasure chest. You may have a lot of doubt about that. That's okay. The doubts are just beliefs, they're just narratives. Your breath, your presence, and your awareness is what sees through all of that. That sees through the doubt, the insecurities, the unworthiness, the suggestions from others, the comparisons, because comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison implies duality. Comparison implies somebody else's opinion is better than the opinion I have of myself. All of this comes back to self. All of this comes back to you. And this is between you and you, meaning you and your own consciousness. Because everything appearing is the contents of your consciousness. And it's usually a mixed bag between conscious and unconsciousness. But the only way to see the unconsciousness, to see the doubt, to see the insecure movements is to be aware. And awareness is what's looking. We just don't want to stay there very long. We get distracted. We want to move. We want more material. We want more books. We just want more. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because there's going to be desires for more, for expansion, for inspiration, for the appearance of evolution. But starting from the sense of lack will get you nowhere. Awareness is fulfillment. Awareness is wholeness. Awareness is the completeness that you're looking for. So it's very simple, very simple. The challenge, so to speak, is applying it. What we're talking about is so simple. You're it. You're what's looking. God is what's looking. God is awareness. God is your consciousness. That is very simple. But how many of us really sit with ourselves? How many of us really ignore appearances and other suggestions and really sit in the heart of God, which is your heart? It's pretty rare. But be the exception. Be beingness. Be the rarity. Get up and walk as if. Be as if. Be beingness itself and watch what happens. Because whether you're conscious or unconscious, everything is emanating from you. It is you. There is only you. And who are you? Infinity. And even that word is a box. But it's a close word to get to the vastness that we are. So my friends, you're going to move through what looks like limitations and human experiences or the finite realm. That's never going to stop. All right. But the wisdom that you have as awareness, as infinity itself, infuses through the life form, gives life and animation to what looks like a boring piece of shit world. You animate it through the breath of God, through the breath of spirit, which is you now. You are animating your whole life, conscious or not. It feels dead and lifeless when you're not present. It feels hopeless when you have forgotten yourself. And this is a reflection here, but one of the greatest reflections is just you making eye contact with yourself in the mirror. Boom. God looking at God, totality looking at totality, appearing as your magnificent finite form. The forms will change, of course. The dreams will change, of course. You will not, as the invisible eternal dreamer. You are invisible, yet appearing visible. So enjoy your form, enjoy your gender, enjoy your personality, because it's fleeting. There will never be another you. There will never be another you quite like you. And that's the gift of time. That's the gift of a body. That's the gift of form. the gift of self-actualizing your recognition of yourself as presence. So my friends, this is it. You're home. You never left, only here. So in the space today, all I'm going to do is guide you back to your heart, guide you back to your breath, guide you back to awareness, the one that's looking, because that's your power, that's your strength, that's your rejuvenation, and that's the confidence you're looking for. But if you have anything you'd like to ask or share, by all means, my friends, feel free. I'm all ears. Because as I serve you, I serve myself. There is only one self. So it's an honor to be here with you today and reflect to you this. That's all. I love you.
Thank you for that, Anna. Good to see
Hey,
you.
Mauricio.
Recently, I don't know, well, the doubts, sometimes take a little more root than they should, and it seems like there's I know it's a spiral, it's not a vicious circle, but it seems like it's always this life experience doing this, but I know it's doing this, it's progress, but sometimes just feels frustrating.
You mean like something coming back around? Is that what you're trying to get to? Like
Yep.
a doubt or some kind of belief
Doubt,
that kind
or
of comes back around? Yeah.
Specifically in the financial situation, you make this progress and then seems like you took care of that, but then other things come up, but essentially stay.
Yes. So there's going to be roadblocks, and and that's what's cool about our character. Not every character was born into wealth. Some were born into poverty and a mixed bag and all kinds of things. That's why each character has a unique story, that plays out. So the actualization of your wealth, right? Because it's recognized, obviously, infinity is wealthy. We're trust fund babies to like the wealthiest of the wealthiest. You know what I mean? Like, hell yeah, dude. But of course, yeah, our consciousness, certain parts of it was conditioned for lack. And we have to leave that consciousness altogether. You know what I mean? But we can only do that with awareness, with presence. And it doesn't mean that we're still not going to meet roadblocks or that belief again to see if we'll push through it in a way. You know what I mean? Because it's all energy. So yeah, sometimes it does meet you again. But when you're sure of yourself, when you're being it, you're embodying let's say the energy of prosperity or abundance. It's like, it doesn't shake you off anymore. Like you don't go, well, I guess I'll coil back. Because the appearance is scaring me. That's what I mean by ignore appearances. And the story that always comes up for this is when Siddhartha was sitting under the Bodhi tree before he became the Buddha. And he was sitting there and he was being tested by all kinds of stuff. Of course, in the story, they showed him as demons, like ladies dancing and trying to get his attention, being provocative, which is what this does. It wants your attention. It wants you to kneel to it. But he would just kind of gaze up one eye, revert back to self, revert back to his faith, revert back to his internal knowing. And Mara, which was the appearance of the demons, evaporated because he stayed in that space. Meaning, we're all going to be tested. We're all the Buddha. We're all Siddhartha. So we will be tested by the appearances of our unconscious beliefs, but it's abiding in your awareness and that you are prosperity, so to speak, even though the old narrator comes in and goes, but hey, here's a story. This is what you used to listen to. This is comfortable. And that's exactly Mara with the Buddha. It's the same thing. You abide. You persist. Your faith is that feeling and conviction of, okay, be gone appearances, be gone. And then you naturally start to have that authority to detach from one consciousness and to look at another consciousness. It's one of your divine powers and gifts. That's why we can't serve two masters. So are we going to serve poverty, or are we going to serve prosperity? Because you can't serve both.
Yeah, it's obviously it only happens when there's a stepping off of here, of now, of presence. Because within this space, I mean, life is beautiful. There's so much to be grateful for. But just stepping into the future, in this case, quote unquote, makes it, oh, but.
Right. Well, what do you mean, though? What do you mean by stepping into it from here? What do you mean the but part? What's the but part?
Well, let's say a certain obligation needs to be met, but not just yet. It's due in 15 months or so. So it's deadlines, really like a
time to make some magic happen, right?
Yeah, talking like a, like a mortgage. Yeah. Okay, well, this month got taken care of. How about next month?
Yeah. It's faith. It's faith in your feeling that can be generated, because everything's already completed. The money you need, the health you need, the bread in the cabinet you need, I don't know, the massage you need, like everything is there because infinity's done. It's complete. But if there's doubt, we'll just say it's a quote unquote weakness in consciousness. We have a belief in consciousness that we're not fully aware of yet. You know what I mean? You rewrite that. You as awareness go, you know what? Like, we've been comfortable. I've known poverty, but you're not serving me. You start to get real keen with energies. Yeah, poverty consciousness and victim consciousness is super comfortable. I'm not going to say it's not. You can get very comfortable into that. Doesn't mean it's healthy or it's in service, so to speak. So when you recognize yourself as awareness, you understand that everything's done. It's complete. And your energy is emanating everything. And you don't need anyone's permission. Here's the deal. When I say appearances, I literally mean appearance. It's the light show. And when you close off and you go inside of yourself, you're going into God. You're going into you. All right. And this is everything. This is the mainframe. That's why we have to close off and fast from appearances, because this is a product of your past beliefs. This is an echo of what you used to believe in, so to speak. But when you come here, it's fresh, it's alive, it's new, it's now, so to speak. That alive energy, and you open your eyes and you are still in that energy. You don't look at your bill and go back and revert to some lowly victim consciousness. That's not how that works. I mean, you have to abide, because that's everything. What are you trusting in? An outside illusory source? Or are you trusting the God that is your breath? That is your very imagination. See, once it's clear that your consciousness is God, then you don't need anyone's help externally. You will seem to generate the help by your faith and feeling, because there's only one. So the beings will pop up when you need help, because you have that faith that it will come. Thy will be done. Your will is connected to the absolute's will. So if you need something to be done, it will happen, but not if you have doubt or insecurity. You must be in the consciousness of faith. You must be in the consciousness of prosperity to see prosperity, because your world is your consciousness.
Yeah, it's the only challenge in this earthly experience that that still gets me every once in a while, but everything else, it's just, oh, it's beautiful. But
right, and it is. But if you want money, then you know what to do. You got to rewrite your consciousness, and that's where we get a little off with the whole non-dual thing. Nothing's going to happen on its own, folks. All right. So yeah, there is beauty in all of this, but hey, if you got a bill that needs to be paid, you can generate that. That's what I'm trying to say here. It doesn't mean you just sell your home. You could be okay with that and go live in a tent. But if you don't like living in a tent, you're probably going to generate the wealth, and you generate the wealth through your consciousness.
Interesting thing that happens, at least in my experience nowadays, one before, if there was a before, I had vertigo. I mean, heights really scared the bejeebies out of me.
Yeah.
I will actually force myself to climb trees so I can
Yeah.
deal with it. But recently I was, climbing a very high tree, and it was no longer that feeling was no longer. It
That's
was so
awesome.
funny. I said, oh, I
You're like
just
a little
noticed.
monkey up there, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has been like that all the time, but it's just all of those phobias, fears are no longer, don't have a hold. It's just
That's
so
wonderful.
interesting to
Yeah.
observe it. You observe it and say, well, it's
Yeah.
just ah,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of things start to fall away, but then there could be things that are still sticking around, like
Yeah,
like a poverty or thing, or poverty consciousness or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's beingness that does the work. The doer is being. So
cool.
it's like the whole dualistic idea that you're separate from God goes out the window. Your consciousness is God. And that's why a lot of phobias have started to fall away too, because you're realizing, like, I'm the source. I'm not going to say they all fall away because there's still a human aspect, but there's a softness for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Thanks,
need to hear
Mauricio.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Best of blessings though with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Best of luck. Yeah. You got this, man.
thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, hi, Anna.
Hey,
I'm going to keep
how
my
are
picture
you?
off just because I'm
Oh, you're
walking my
fine.
dog and it's easier just to not have my picture on.
No, you're fine. Turn it on.
That
Who's
was
who's
really,
talking? Because it's not even showing me for some reason.
it's Laura.
Oh, hey, Laura. Hi.
Hi. I'm glad Mauricio asked that question. I needed to hear that. That was really good. I have a question about death.
Yeah.
And I used to watch the Long Island Medium like religiously and
Yeah.
was so comforted by that, by thinking about my loved ones kind of hanging out with me and having the physical experiences with me and um, still being part of my life. And now with doing or thinking about, non-dualism, and that this is really my dream and that everybody is me. And that maybe it is, the physical part of me needs to go through working out, not having these certain characters in my life anymore. But then also that, does that even really make sense anymore from a non-dual perspective? If it is my dream, and if they are me,
Mhm.
and the most recent death is of our little family dog who we had for 14 years, and his death affected all of us so deeply.
Yeah.
And kind of figuring that out. And you made a comment about how your daughter's, when she goes to school and she says, "I'm going to miss you," and you say, "I'm always in your heart."
Mhm.
And so is it that these loved ones are in my heart?
Mhm.
I guess and we probably won't even know the answer to this question, but when you die, is there, and it is all a dream, so is there something, like, are my parents aware, my dead parents, do they have any awareness of my life? Or if I am my dead parents and I have awareness of my life, then does everybody have awareness of my life?
Well, it's a very ambiguous question, but you are infinity,
Yeah.
so technically, yes, you're everything. So, but through that perspective, I mean, you're not going to have access to all of that. That's why there's a unique experience called you appearing. Now, I will say, I can just tell you from the direct experience here, the questions of death don't arise here anymore. When you start to recognize that time is a projection of consciousness, what is death? I died yesterday. I also died this morning, and I died 5 minutes ago, and I'm dying right now to this breath. So really, death becomes another belief and concept, which keeps us away from the aliveness and heaven that's appearing now. So it's a very mind-based thing. It's not right or wrong, but it's something your body learned. So you're right. It's really the body that's being retrained, but you as awareness is the complete perfect circle. That's why my guidance is always come back to the seer, come back to awareness, come back to presence, because when you're aware of awareness itself, it literally starts to eat the insecurity. It's the questions of death, because the one who's wondering it, well, it's not there anymore. It's been literally sucked in by infinity itself. And I'm not trying to make it like two-ness. I mean, that's also infinity appearing as the worry, but it's just coming from a limited perspective of consciousness. And when you're present and you're aware, you're in the vast bird's eye top of the mountain view, and it just kind of,
So
that's all I can
it's
say.
almost,
Yeah.
it's like a learned loss,
Yes.
anxiety. It's a
Yeah.
learned thing, because that's what my parents did. They mourned the loss of people.
But it's not wrong. I want to be clear saying it's not wrong to mourn. Like, that's very much a natural human emotion. I mean, we're not just like, assholes staring off into space. I mean, there can definitely be crying and hugging and compassion and empathy, but I will say it doesn't have the blow like it used to, because you recognize that you're breathing in your loved one. It's in your heart, but it doesn't mean you don't have the celebration for the friendship and the time you had together. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So eventually, or I guess in regards to our little dog, that whatever, that the memories, that there is no, that there's just the war memories, and not feeling loss for him almost feels like it's honoring him, but from a non-dual perspective, that doesn't really make sense.
Well, it both makes sense. Non-duality isn't trying to make you some kind of asshole, narcissistic, cut off from life. It's actually the opposite. It brings you closer into life. Like, it's a celebration. So if it's time to cry, it's time to cry. But all I can say is the duration dwindles. Everything kind of is processed very quickly, versus like when you're processing through your human mind, which can take a really, really long time because there's a lot of thoughts and narratives and baggage. When you're processing through presence, it's just very quick alchemical processing.
Yeah, that resonates. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's okay to cry it out, celebrate it out, whatever, it's, because that's what's actually happening. Something actually appeared in your story, in your dream, where there was a death, and that elicited an emotion. Now, most beings, they sit on their couch and they're visualizing worst case scenario.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the difference. That kind of stuff stops, but there's the realness of what's actually happening. A death, a birth, a job offer, a job loss, and then there's the emotions that arise from what's actually appearing viscerally. That's it. So yeah, honor you, girlfriend. And get out of the idea, that there's a right or wrong way for non-duality. It's just being authentic, but without the snag of time and external suggestions of right or wrong way to be. It's quite natural, and simple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just thinking about the learned ways to view and process loss, that I really like thinking about having that be faster and being at peace with it sooner. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Just bring all your energy into the body versus observing the thoughts and the imaginings about it. Just, be with yourself, be with your heart. Yeah. Hey, Will.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Well, I just thought I could maybe add to that a little. My history, I've had a lot of experience with loss and grief, like massively. Couple things that I found that were useful. I've kind of come down to, like, actually just had a couple funerals this last couple weeks. But I find there's two states of grief. One is just that loss part, the agony of being separated. But I sometimes even think of it like when you rip up a plant by the roots, it's like all the other roots that it's connected to. That's part of where that pain comes from. It's all interwoven
That's
together.
sweet. I like that.
But the only cure I've found personally for grief is gratitude. That's the other side of it. Is like you're saying, having the appreciation and celebrating what you have. But here's the little demo I'm going to try, so it's okay. So this happened with my dad. My dad passed away when I was 16 in the whole time thing. But I realized that a lot of times in relationship, we're trying, see if I can do this visually. Not really. So like each finger looks like they're separate fingers, right? And this finger is trying to connect with that finger. And this finger's like, oh, why are you way over there away from me? We're alone, So if you look at it, we're actually connected, right? In this source that we're all connected. So that's what I found without, I can be in the source with my dad or anybody else anytime I want. So then all of a sudden, all of that clinging, trying to be connected and lost stuff goes away when you meet him in your source. And anyway, that's kind of a visual way that I look at it.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like the plant thing. Yeah.
Huh?
I like the plant analogy.
Yeah, because they're all interconnected. I think that's part of why. Yeah. Because there's that shock. I mean, my experience with loss has always been really shocking. It's like really dramatic, at least in my earlier years. It wasn't until a few years ago that I actually went through a grieving process with somebody while they were sort of passing away. I've only had that happen once. So it's a little different. See, I thought that was just normal because when, I don't know, getting into my story.
Presence heals. It goes all back to presence, awareness. Because with presence too, there's natural gratitude. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I've said. The main part is the gratitude, being grateful. It's always
right. Yeah. Which again, we have to revert back to presence. I mean, without conscious awareness, there's no choice to even be grateful.
Right.
Yeah.
So on
That's
another
the paradox. Vein, yeah.
As long as I raised my hand, we have kind of a
go for it, man. Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly where to go with it, or like, I think there's a tendency to not want to talk about stuff because it will make it look like I don't know, like, don't know what's going on, or I do know what's going on, but
Well, what's up, man? What's up? What's the
well,
pickle?
I've had this thing with my shoulder and my neck, like being sore for like months, like 6 months. And it's kind of like, well, where is it the balance between nothing needs to be healed and fixed and that I'm whole and complete?
Wait a sec. First off, have you done yoga or gone to a massage therapist?
Yeah.
And that didn't help.
Well, the massage thing helped. I have a couple people that are really good, and it would make it better, but not like totally like. So
because it all comes
so
back
I
to
have
two,
the thing
our
I've come
conscious
down to is I've
awareness.
had
It
this
comes to-
tooth.
Comes back. So is it the back or is it the tooth? Which one is it? Which one are we talking about?
Well, I'm getting back to, I think it's the tooth that's causing the issue in my neck.
I see. Well, honey,
And
that's what doctors are for.
Well, that's
what
why I'm
doctors
going
are
on
for.
Thursday,
Yeah.
finally. But it's this tendency of habit, I guess, of tolerating. Maybe that's more of the issue that bothers, because the pain is tolerable. It's not like it's like learning to get used to it or living with it when maybe I don't.
Why do you have to live with it though when there's doctors that can assist you? If you got like an abscess in your tooth, don't you want to get that looked at?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
What are you
well,
bypassing stuff
they'll
for?
take it
we
out
can use
and then they'll want me
spirituality and
to get-
non-duality to not see medical doctors, but there's a place for those healings. Thank God there's dentists, right?
Right.
Thank God there's medical doctors. Thank God there's surgeons. They all play a part, you know, and you have to use your intuition, which is connected to presence of when it's time to go. You know what I mean? Because they serve a purpose for sure.
Right.
You know?
Well, it looks like Thursday's the time to go. I made an appointment.
Well, good, man. Yeah. Well,
But,
hopefully
you know,
they can help you. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's directly related. Well, it's kind of a chain reaction. So the
Well,
tooth makes
everything is connected, as we know.
yeah, so the neck goes and then the shoulder goes and then it affects my hip or whatever. It's like all starts kind of, and then the
Yeah.
aging philosophy starts coming in, you know, of not necessarily
Oh,
healing
but we
as
know
a-
that's a lie with epigenetics. You can reverse your
Right.
aging by thought alone.
Yeah, let's do that. I
Remember
did check into
Bruce
that.
Lipton? I
did
recommended you to
check
Bruce
into
Lipton
that.
for epigenetics. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
See, when we recognize that our consciousness is God, then we start to recognize we don't have to believe in this whole aging thing. You can literally slow down aging.
Yeah. I think
It's
my
based
thing
on your belief system. Yeah.
maybe part of it is I have this belief in my immortal, indestructible self. And that's part of like, it just overdrives. It's like, well, you know, I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's
Well,
sort
I'm
of like,
infinity, so I won't go look at my tooth, even though it's hurting. That kind of thing. Is that what you mean?
yeah, no, I'm thinking it's more like just sort of overdriving or I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, having to get it. I don't think there's a task. Like sometimes if there's a task and you're really working on it, wanting to get it finished. Maybe it's just, well, see, then it's like, how do we control reality? It's things just arise.
It's not controlling. Controlling is out of fear. It's more of a creation, which is out of inspiration. When you know your consciousness is God, you can sit and imagine health.
Right.
You can also imagine health for another. That's real prayer. So if you have a friend who's sick, you can visualize them healthy, you know, and seeing them how you want to see them. That's true prayer, not begging. You know, it's being in that energy of health, being conscious of health, being conscious of those things. We have to have the conscious awareness of health to be healthy. We have to have the conscious awareness of prosperity to be prosperous. Yeah, you're everything.
See them in
but
your
right now
source.
you're just right. And your body with pain is going to tell you, look at the pain, look at the pain, look at the pain, which means you're focused on the very limited view of consciousness. That's why when we have to deny appearances, this includes the body vehicle appearing, shut it off, go inside into source yourself. All right. And that's how it's all done. It's not control. It's inspiration. It's creativity, curiosity. Control is a force, and it comes from a fear and a lack.
So it's
Creation comes from
inspired
inspiration.
action.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an inspired action, not just like, oh, I got to do something, or this is going to get worse, or it's going to get bad. Then that's all fear.
It could get worse, though. It could get worse. Why couldn't it? You're infinity. It could go to the shitter. It could go to the shitter, you know, but what I'm saying is your consciousness is everything. So if we want health, we have to be conscious of health. And also use the beautiful beings that do appear in our world, like dentists and doctors, who appear to assist us in the realization of what we're looking for, like health.
Right. I expect things to be easy, so it usually is.
Well, there you go, because that's your core belief. If you think things are going to be easy, they tend to be easy for you.
Okay, well, I'll keep at that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I'm not saying, guys, like there's going to be toothaches and tummy aches and all kinds of stuff that pops up. It's just when you know who you are, these things can move through much quicker, right? Because you're coming from a space of empowerment, not disempowerment. Big energy shift. Yeah.
Mhm.
But that all starts with conscious awareness. Your conscious awareness of beingness is God. And that's what we call that self-realization. That's just the beginning, so to speak.
Right.
Recognizing your presence is a very minute, so to speak, part of this. And then sharing that, bringing it through the body into your actual life, so to speak, that can take a lifetime. We talked about this somewhere over the rainbow, but it all starts with our conscious recognition that our consciousness is God, which is complete. It's infinite. And what we're seeing now is everything, but the everything can morph and shift. Just like the whole hand thing. You may be looking at the thumb, but there's still the pinky. This may be poverty. This could be prosperity. Ooh.
There we go.
Woohoo! All right.
I think it was the persistence of it that is what's kind of weird. But so then in other
Well,
words,
the persistence is because you haven't left the consciousness of what's being persisted.
well, the idea too, though, that God can have a sore neck, the expression of,
Why couldn't that happen?
it doesn't
You're
make me
everything.
wrong or bad because I have a sore neck. It's just,
No, but I think you have an idea that it does.
yeah, because it would be better to be different. There's a belief, right?
Well, no, I mean, who doesn't want to be healthy if you're sick? I
Right,
mean, who
it's
doesn't want to
natural.
feel
That's what-
good if you're, yeah,
That's what pain
absolutely.
is kind of for, I think, isn't that's sort of, it's designed as an instinctual thing to draw attention
Yeah.
to heal something, but
Right. And you can heal yourself, is what I'm saying. Consciousness heals. All things are possible with consciousness. All things are possible with God. But do you have faith in yourself? Do you believe in yourself? And when I say yourself, I'm talking about the self with a capital S, which is your awareness.
mhm.
Do you believe? Do you have faith in yourself as consciousness itself?
Right. Cool, thank you. Hey, Petra, how'd you get that green leaf on your camera? That looked kind of cool.
I
Were you
will. I think I just turned the first.
Were you doing it on purpose, or did it just happen?
No,
to-
no. It was.
It
It
looks like
looked cool
chaos.
when it was. It looked cool when it was shining through. Like
Yeah, I don't know how it's.
okay,
Ah, it was
yeah, like that. It was kind of
me too.
light shining through. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
it's alive and healing vibration. Thank
Yeah. Sounds very familiar what you're talking about, Will. Hmm.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, Will.
Mhm.
A lot of folks have those questions. So it's good to bring those things up because it always reverts us back to ourselves as the operant power.
Okay, cool.
So thank you. And you guys, I know this message isn't for everybody. It's a niche. But for those who have the ears to hear this, may you hear and be free.
We can still see you, Petra. Now you don't have to be a plant just because I said that. See, look at her. There's a radiant expression. Okay.
I have COVID, therefore
Oh,
better
I'm
look.
sorry. That's no fun. That's no fun.
Yeah. I'm almost through it.
That's good. Are you in quarantine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have to anymore here in Germany, but I
Oh,
do.
nice.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Can you talk again about the aging thing?
Yeah, it's all a thought. I mean, yeah, there's going to be, the body's going to die eventually, obviously. But to say that we all have to age and have pains and dementia, it's bullshit. It's a belief. It's a story. Come on now.
Look at
Yeah.
the wrinkles.
Yeah, it's
They
your
seem
narrative,
very
it's your
real.
story. And it's, I mean, all you're sharing with us, Petra, is the relationship you have with yourself. That's what everyone is sharing. And I'm a little blunt. I know I'm blunt, but I have to show and highlight the insecurities and the narratives that are making you suffer. Become conscious of your narratives. Become conscious of how you belittle yourself and how we deny the body so often. Okay? Because your body will display the concept you have of yourself, period, because you're God. And how you talk to yourself is God. And it creates, it manifests, and it appears. So if you say I'm an old hag, so be it. If you say I'm a beautiful queen, so be it. Your word is law. But you'll be done with it when you're done with it. You know what I mean? Because it is deteriorating. To hate on yourself is absolutely deteriorating. And what we come to realize is the savior is yourself. It's your awareness and your consciousness. No? But if you do want to look into it, study epigenetics. I mean, science is coming into this where we're recognizing life is a dream. And by thought alone, you can heal. Imagination is God. There is only that.
Look at this.
So if we, oh my, who is that?
It's me.
I thought it was, you look so cute. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean,
You look like an ornery little thing. Look at that face though. Oh my gosh, how old are you in that picture?
Like 2.5. Yeah, and
I could
really,
squeeze you.
it really warms my heart. I mean, she's so adorable, and I thought I hang it up here somewhere whenever I come up with a self-hatred. That's her. That's me 120%.
Yeah, and you're still beautiful and adorable. My gosh, it doesn't matter if you're 2.5 or 200 years old, you're still beautiful. Because that 2.5-year-old's still in your heart, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
yeah, my goodness. Yeah, and I'm not just bullshitting you. You're beautiful.
No.
You know? Yeah. But it doesn't matter what I say. How do you feel about you? You know what I mean? So, because at the end of the day, you go to bed with you. At the end of the day, it's you looking in the mirror with you. At the end of the day, you are you. So how do you feel about you? You know?
When I look at this picture, I think I could never hate myself again.
God, I know. It's just like so inviting, that picture. It's like, let's play.
Yeah.
You know, who cares if we got chocolate on our face and our underwear hanging out and our hair's messy?
Yeah, and
like,
even
let's just
the
play.
hole here in the
Oh,
what is it? I feel I'm really like that.
and yes,
today.
my love. Oh, and so if you wouldn't say it to that little face right now, don't ever say it to yourself now.
Mm-hmm.
She's still there listening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she doesn't know the difference if you're being honest or you're just coming from a hurt feeling. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm using her as the representation of yourself. Yeah.
Very good.
It's like a kid. It's blind. The heart's blind. It's just taking whatever you're thinking and feeling. So my goodness. Yeah. Talk to that 2.5-year-old.
Wow. Yeah, she's still listening. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, whenever I argue with her, don't eat all day. I mean, you're getting fat.
Girlfriend, and I understand that dialogue. This character went through the eating disorder experience. So I totally understand that. And I understand the obsessive thoughts that come with that. Ignore appearances and you turn back to the sun. Okay. I understand that type of trauma and drama. But the only way out is to ignore those appearances, because thoughts are still appearances, and you return to source as yourself. You return to that goodness. You return to that 2.5-year-old in your heart. I'm beautiful, man. I'm cute as hell. Screw you, man. You know, because you learn those thoughts of not to eat this way or that way. I can tell you, I learned it from my mom, which was me manifesting as my mom for a insecure personal experience. So we start to see it was a suggestion. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only way to heal those suggestions, so to speak, cut them off completely, leave that consciousness altogether, is come back here for clarity. And we you know, and you say it how it is. I am beautiful, for God's sakes. I am adorable. I am playful. You know, all these things, because you're infinity, obviously. So yeah, we had a shitty experience of an eating disorder, but we can leave it all together through the heart of awareness, through the loving awareness.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. You got this, girl. Yeah.
Hi again.
Hey, Mauricio.
You said something interesting. Maybe we can expand on it. The prayer or seeing others healed or any of that. So I guess that's the gift that we have for one another in this appearance of characters, because you know, you see your little girls. I mean, when you contemplate, and especially when you delve into their eyes, I mean, it's beauty. I mean, it's infinity. It's all of it. And I guess that's the gift that we bring to one another, to be able to see the magnificence and the beauty of everyone we encounter, and not whatever appearance they might be displaying necessarily.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, if someone, there can still be appearances where someone's being totally heinous. I mean, you're not gonna go run up and give them a hug. I mean, you understand that that's infinity playing out of villain mode, but
Right.
I'm not gonna say you're gonna drop to your knees and start worshiping. There's
No,
just
no.
a recognition that it's the source appearing as this drama. Yeah, there's that recognition, but also recognizing they probably need love. Otherwise, they wouldn't be hating on themselves or others. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Which then that would be where the natural prayer comes in, just seeing them as love, seeing them healed, so to speak. But what I was talking about was like someone with cancer or a broken bone, but it can be for anything.
Right.
You know, you seeing them how you want to see them, healthy, thriving, not praying to some external God, may they be blessed with money, but you're seeing them in the prosperity. You're seeing them with their new home, or, you know, the new job that they so need. Like, you're seeing that for them, and that's true prayer, because it's finished, it's done. I'm not begging, I'm seeing it complete.
Right.
You know, been fulfilled. Yeah.
Yeah, you was something that you posted, one of your notes in your Patreon, something about oh gosh, I forgot. Basically that the one is just portraying it, coming from the point of is done, you know.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, it's called complete. So like, yeah, there's another option for them, obviously. You know what I mean? Because we're all the whole spectrum. So if we have a friend in poverty, there's obviously them on the spectrum of prosperity. You know, so we can pray for them that way. But also, I mean, if they're open to it, a great way to talk to them is showing them that their consciousness is it, because that's a sustainable way. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's just, there's many modes of consciousness, but it's all the one emanating those modes, you know, for the sake of play, for the sake of diversity, for the sake of what looks like creation and movement and friction. You know, it appears as levels, it appears as floors, it appears as different bandwidths, but it really is the one seamless source, just appearing that way. Yeah. So when you give to another, you're giving to yourself. whether it's an imagination or here too, but really you could say everything's imagination. Everything is that dreamlike space, whether it's here, eyes closed or open. But you're always giving to yourself. So why not give love, gratitude, compliments, money, whatever you have in that sense, because you are giving to yourself. And what I'm giving here is yourself with a capital S, so that it can be sustainable in the sense that your God is consciousness. Your presence is that, your awareness is that, which if you know that, then I don't need anyone else's help, in the sense of you're going to do this for me. I know where to go now. And as I go inside to that, I will call forth beings who will assist me through my consciousness. Because I went into the unmanifested that brought forth the manifested, versus I went into the manifested and tried really hard to make things work.
That's the old style.
Right. So we went energetic slide. We did the electric dance versus the snail flow or whatever. You get what I'm saying? So it's all done within.
You just sometimes just
Oh, it
you know,
does.
you jump
Yeah.
into it.
Glazed over. Is that like you get glazed over? Like
Yep.
a donut? Yeah. Yum, yum, yum. I took the sweet, I took the bait. It happens. It's going to happen. Like there's going to be the friction of that, the lovemaking. And I got to say too, like I keep continually sharing, is this is always going to deepen. This is always going to deepen. That's why you see this character, like it's deepening. Go back to a video from a year ago to now. It's just it's going to deepen. It has to. It's just called growth and expansion. Yeah. So
Now that you
it's always
mentioned
going to deepen.
it,
Yeah.
now that you mentioned it, it appears even your physicality it's deepening somehow.
Mhm.
I was looking at videos of you a couple of years back or whatever, and it's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
broader,
Yeah.
expansive. I mean, I don't know, just
Yeah. Because it's the body really that's
feels
learning.
beautiful.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's really the body that's kind of picking up and learning, because awareness is complete. So yeah, that's why it can seem like it's more stable in whatever, not as flighty or whatever we want to call it, integrated. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Will, thanks for that hand analogy in fingers.
Yeah, I found that was really helpful. It's weird because I don't usually talk about that. The way, the truth of the way it felt was like, how they say, I felt like, I had done a lot of my work, but it felt like my dad's energy was sort of like clinging to me. And it was sort of like, go to the light kind of thing. But by doing that, it was like, as soon as I explained that, oh, look, we're connected in our source, it was like, it just went away. It was just open. It was really cool. So, you know what else, Mauricio? I'm going to turn off my camera so you can see my new bookshelves, because they look like your great big bookshelves.
Oh, yes.
I like the picture.
I just moved those yesterday. They're
cute.
like gigantic.
They're huge. Did you make those?
Oh, wow.
No, I bought them from a guy that had them, but I wanted a big wall like that. Not so much for books, but actually as like a sound baffle, so it helps baffle the sound from my
beautiful.
neighbors. So yeah,
It's really beautiful.
And then I have a lot of shelves. I have a lot of stuff I like to put around. So
yeah, books have always been part of my life. I just really enjoyed it. Although right now they were more quote unquote spiritual and all of that, in self-improvement. But that's no longer, a call. It doesn't do anything for this character, because now it's just going back to source. So I have a challenge enjoying a book nowadays.
yeah, well, I realized I had like boxes full of books in storage at my brother's like thing, and I go, well, I can put them all out now. I don't need to leave them in storage.
That's right.
Because I've got a bunch of these old books. I just like old books, that are like 100 years old, and you can read stuff about, what people were thinking 100 years ago, or look at the illustrations.
Illustrations are quite interesting. It's really neat.
Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, I'm big on I also got my new standing desk that I can move up and down, which is really cool.
Talk about raising your consciousness immediately.
Yeah, I was raising, I'm lowering my consciousness, raising my consciousness. But
Oh
that's
my
better
gosh.
for my shoulder and stuff too. See, that was a proactive thing because, always sitting at my computer all day, that probably was
Yeah.
not beneficial to healing my neck and
Mhm.
shoulder stuff. So this is
Mhm.
actually helping a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. The bookcase breakdown. Bookcase intermission.
Yep.
It's like a commercial break.
Well, I can't sell a lot of my books because I like to write in my books. So they're all like highlighted
Oh,
and
yep.
stuff. And nobody
Yeah.
wants any of my books anyway. But yeah. And it's like you say, I don't really read them, right? You read them, although some I use kind of as a reference I'll go back to. I read a lot of nonfiction. I don't read like novels and stuff. But anyway, so yay.
Anna, talking about deepening, when people say, "Oh, Anna, she's not radical anymore. She's talking always about too much about consciousness," and I don't agree, but I don't know what to say
Oh, you don't agree with me or them?
with them.
Oh, well, I don't give a shit about a peanut gallery. That's all I can say. No one's my guru but me. Period.
Yeah.
And all I can do is guide you into the guru that is your heart. Period. And the peanut gallery will fall away. The trolls will fall away. The haters will fall away. Because hey, there's going to be haters. Feel free. But you just can't hit this. It's okay. So, sister, they're going to say what they're going to say, but you follow your intuition. Whatever resonates with your heart and makes you feel the most loving and free, that's what's right for you. Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's up? How are you doing, Bruce? You missed my intro this morning when we took a little vote for the whole display. They
Oh, no
voted to
kidding.
just look at me, but for now. But I'll do another poll on Patreon for the whole community. But you weren't here for the little poll, but I did one. I promise.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice. I guess the split screen didn't win out.
It didn't, man, but it's okay. I will do the whole group vote and see what they say. It's just everyone has their perspective and opinions, and I just, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
we'll go with majority.
I mean,
yeah.
So good. So you all discussed it already. You know what we're talking about.
Well, there was a small group right before we started, and I asked, hey, how do you want it today? And a few of them said they'd rather see this versus the back and forth. But
Right.
I'll do a whole poll for the community, and we'll see what everyone says. And it'll just stay like that through the Patreon Sanghas.
Interesting.
We'll go for the people. Yeah.
So the observation I made was that it's it's really great to see when they're just you and someone else is talking. Like, I don't know if anyone else can see me talking now or not. I guess not. So your expressions in the moment are really as good as anything. So it really captures it. So be that
Well,
as
they're
it
both
may.
cool. They both have their unique thing. I mean, I get both perspectives, and I don't care either way. I'm just going for, what the people want, what resonates with y'all. I don't really care, but, we'll go with majority. So we'll see.
So it's kind of
Yeah.
carries on with the theme we've been speaking about with health and wellness. The thing I've noticed about being healthy, I mean, we're all healthy at some point in our life where everything feels good and we're healthy.
Mhm.
So in those points, those moments, I've noticed that the body's invisible. In other words, you know, you're
Yeah.
just like right now, you're just looking out and you're seeing the room and hearing the stuff. And it's like the body's not even there, really. You're just aware of experience, right? So it seems that a healthy body is invisible, basically, to the experience of what's happening.
In a way, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, and then if pain shows up or fatigue or something, then, you know, it's a sign something needs to be done. Of course, the body's crying out, help me, help me. And the only way it can speak, right, with pain.
Right.
So, you know, and I don't see that any different than trying to avert a car on the interstate. I mean, you know, something comes up, you got to react now to it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's so, but then, you know, but then looking out the body now, looking out through the eyes and the ears, it seems the body really is external. I mean, you know, like I can see the tree over there and it's clearly external, but really isn't the body external too?
It's just it's not an external, it's a projection of your consciousness. There actually isn't anything that's external. It's all you. It's all an appearance. We use the word like external, internal. There really isn't an external and an internal. It's all just consciousness appearing, but it is coming from your particular point of consciousness, seemingly.
Okay.
So I get what you're
Interesting.
saying. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, pain registers. That's when you really start to notice the body, or if you're ill. But the thing is too, what can take over is the absolute. Even if the body's ill, if you have something to do or something to get done, it'll take over and body will disappear, so to speak, and you're straight in the experience, just like if you weren't sick. As soon as the thing is over that you need to get done, though, you'll feel the symptoms of the body again.
Yes.
Or like there was a
Right.
pain or a nausea or a
Right.
cramp, you're like, oh, there it is. But it was
Comes
gone
back.
during the whole thing that you were doing. Yeah, it's wild, but it
Interesting.
appears like that.
Yes, that's really
Yeah.
beautiful. It's like right now, right, we can feel our right foot, but it's been there the whole time, but we just didn't know it until we just paid attention to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah.
It does kind of come and go.
Mhm.
But well, then the question is, you know, once we understand this, I guess this notion of unity or this notion of non-duality, why doesn't that understanding just at that moment the switch flip and everything change? Or you know what I mean? In other words, just because you know this, like it's clear that everyone here knows or intellectually understands something about unity and non-duality and consciousness. I mean, that's why we're here. And yet, you know, it seems that should be enough. I mean, once you get that, I mean, my God, it seems like you got to figure it out. The whole thing should switch and you should just be the eternal being, right? I mean, why doesn't
Yeah.
it? You
It just
know?
doesn't happen though. I mean, I'm not going to say that's for every character, but no, not for most. That's what the self-actualization is self-realization can take an instant, like one dropping. Oh my God, one seeing, but it can take your whole lifetime to integrate that and actualize it. Or it could take 2 weeks. It really depends on your avatar's processing, because all of it is a suggestion. And I talked about this in Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So if you want to watch that replay, it's on YouTube. But everything starts as suggestion. Your body's an avatar. It's like a computer and interface system. Now, if it's been suggested for just very linear, lack-based things, yeah, you can have a blown fuse of an awakening moment, so to speak, or a glimpse at your timeless awareness. But you still come back to a computer system that might be like from 1980. It has to get up to speed to your awareness, to your vastness. So that's why it looks like an unfolding, a process, or what we call an evolution. The actualization is this manifestation of the wisdom that you've seen in presence or in timeless awareness. And that's what we call the process. That's what we call an evolution or an integration or embodiment. But recognizing that your beingness, and this is all there is, that can take literally one breath or a couple glimpses. But displaying that through a body vehicle that has tiny neurons that are close, tight, and thinks about lack, it's going to take a minute for that whole computer operating system to convert and shift to the fuse of awareness or the breath of awareness. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? So it's like the
Yeah.
body is learning, you as awareness is perfect, whole, complete. And as you move through the prism of mind, you're reconfiguring everything. You're training, you're shifting it, you're creating a whole new computer system. And this is where physics and epigenetics and neuroscience comes in.
Wow. So that's pretty interesting. So so the density of the body in a way kind of slows it down, it seems.
It only seems that way.
Right. Only seems that way. Yeah.
Now, and it's really just your faith. How do you close the gap? You're just closing a gap. You know what I mean? But that's why it seems like an evolution. When you have a suggestion that you're just a man, you're just a human, this is linear, you have to work hard, that's literally the computer that's operating in. The whole body wants to see that, because it knows that, it thinks it knows that. So that's what it's looking for all the time. I'm just immortal, I'm just a human, I'm seeking, this is in heaven, because that's your computer operating system. But when a consciousness is conscious of itself, when awareness is aware of itself, now you're the white light that's going to reconfigure the rainbow. And you do it through the prism of mind, because there is only one consciousness. And all these appearances are just different configurations of the one consciousness. So a poor man is no different than a wealth man, other than the movements of its consciousness, how it's been rearranged.
Okay, then I guess we have to ask the question, who are you really?
There's no name for it. We can use many names, but there really is no name that will encapsulate it.
Because they're
I'm infinity appearing finite for the sake of it, for the play of it, for the hell of it. But even infinity won't do. It's just something we use to show like how vast this is, how limitless we are, but we're so limitless that we like to play in a finite, limited game. And that's what's groovy about this. When you recognize yourself as awareness, you don't really get into this idea of like, oh, I can only be called this or be called that, or this word's okay, or like you're everything. So call me whatever you want to call me. It's not going to rub me the wrong way anymore. I know who I am. I know what I am, so to speak. That's why knowing yourself is everything. Because when you know yourself, you're free. You can have assholes show up in your world. You can be bullied. None of it will touch you anymore like it used to, because you know yourself as source. You know what this is.
Okay, so you know what you are.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting components there. There's the knowing.
You're getting caught up on language.
Okay, well, yeah.
It's an intuitive knowing. An intuitive knowing doesn't need the mental faculties. It is an all body turned on yes. Light, intelligence, clarity. Like there's just not even an ounce of doubt in your body, and no one can shake you from it. Some will call you arrogant because you're just so sure. I'm serious. I've been called arrogant. I've been called an asshole. I've been called many things, especially because I'm in a female body, so to speak. But it's
Right.
just, you're so sure. There isn't a doubt anymore that can be shaken. It's the rock. The Christians talked about that. You're built on the rock. The rock is Christ. Christ is your consciousness. You are that, and nothing can shake you from it anymore. It's a deep conviction.
Okay, that's why that's why faith is such an interesting component to it, right? Because but faith is still the individual, it's personalized, I guess, but faith presumably will take you to a place where you transcend the personal and just be what the faith is.
It depends on how you're looking at faith. I just see it as a natural trust.
A natural trust. Okay.
Yeah.
So
because you know what you are, you know who you are, and you understand intuitively. Consciousness creates. There is only the one consciousness. Your consciousness is God, and that will be shown to you over and over again by getting bit by the piranha outside of you. Ouch! Go home. Go home. Go home. And you start to recognize that your narratives and the things that are going apparently on inside do have what looks like effects on the outside. Period.
So. Okay, so that faith, I'd say almost it goes beyond faith into a knowing of certainty.
Yeah, and we can even use faith here as a knowing. We don't, because I know faith can be tied a lot to like dogma, but let's just let's just use it as that. It's the same thing.
Yes,
we're pointing to the same thing.
Yes, well, which is interesting because whether it's full confidence or full knowing or full faith. I guess the operative word there is full. I mean, once you experience the fullness of something, then it's full, no matter what you call it.
Yeah, I think you're getting that's what I would agree with. You know, it's like I have this thing, people ask me like, how do you have so much faith? And it's like, well, it's not a blind faith, it's a proven faith. It's you know, it's trustworthy faith, right? You know.
Nice. Right. It is a confidence which can't be shaken.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
but I would say that is no longer personal. In other words, it seems that's beyond the personal into the, again, what
Yeah,
am
into the
I?
infinite. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is why, like, I like to use the examples of like Jesus, because he would talk about like my Father and I are one, but we're, you know, we're not separate. But he would talk about prayer. So Jesus, the Son, which is you, your consciousness, prays, asks, it's given. But you're talking to the greater consciousness, which is you. So you can have inner dialogues and commentary and things like that, but it's just you and your consciousness. So yeah, the finite aspect is going to be limited. That's obvious. But you, the greater self, which is not separate from the finite, comes in, so to speak, and does the work. It seems like they're two. They're not. They're
Yes.
operating together
Right.
as one, as one. So yeah.
The talking to yourself thing is just convenient, but you really, you're not, you
Yeah.
talking
It's
to
no
yourself.
different than here. Yeah, it's just inside, and then you get an answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
But there's no distinction really. If you're just talking to yourself, there's no one else. But really, it's in the same in this conversation. There really is no one else, really.
Right, but it also depends on the lens you're coming from. Schizophrenics can talk to themselves.
Well, yes. Okay.
And that's oneness manifesting, but it's a very limited skew of consciousness, so to speak. You know what I mean? So this is where intuition and discernment really come in.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Sure,
that's a natural divine power. But without that, and you can see it, without that, I mean, it's like we're blind, you know, in
Yeah,
not a
because
good way. But
it's really easy to delude oneself. Right. The mind is pretty slippery. So, you know, thinking I am that when it's really me.
well,
Or the self.
it is that, you know what I mean? It depends on if like, I'll just take it, for example, unpack a thought. If you say, I am unconscious, or I am not enlightened, I am, which is God, which is totality, the vast consciousness, is confirming and limiting itself to an expression in consciousness that I am unconscious, that I am not awake, that I am unenlightened. And because you are God, I am, you can say whatever you want and have that experience. Relatively. Is it absolutely true? Relatively, yeah. Absolutely. And it can't be absolutely true. That's why you can shift and change within the realms of consciousness, which is an optical illusion. It's in a rainbow effect. So
yes, it is quite the rainbow. It's such a delightful change of light and color, really. All of it.
And sometimes freaky and smelly and whatever the hell else pops up, right?
Right.
Weird. Yeah.
Which is why, you know, there's so much to be learned from nature. Like my dogs take everything. It doesn't, the smell, they don't find an offensive smell. There's no offensive smell to a dog, right? They just like all smells. There's, you know, they're completely present without judgment.
That's obvious. Yeah. Good Lord. Some of the things that dogs do, it's like.
Right. I mean, what a wonderful lesson, though. They're so fully present. I mean, I'm thinking, you know, maybe in the next round, they'll become judgmental humans. I mean, you can see some of them get a little neurotic, but.
Well, those are usually because they're hanging around neurotic humans.
You're right. Yes,
yeah.
For sure.
And that shows you that environment can impress on your consciousness, even if you're vastly open like that, you know? So that's what that shows you. It's the body vehicle that's taking in that, you know what I mean? Because the dog's just open. It's just there.
Just open in there. Yeah.
It just doesn't have the faculties of imagination like we have, or reason, or, you know, that type of ideations and abilities.
And when that experience filters through our personal and we make a judgment or evaluation, that's his natural, that's
natural too. This has judgments and evaluations.
Right.
You know, I don't see every character the same. There's natural discernment. Hey, do you want to do this with me? I don't know. You know, you can feel and tune into things. That's a natural discernment. I mean, just because everyone is you doesn't mean you're going to just be a doormat, open your door to everybody and be like, hell yeah, man. Let's do that. I mean, that can happen, but there's natural discernment and wisdom. Not for me. Nope. Waste of time. Not going there.
Yeah.
So,
chocolate versus vanilla.
Yeah. In a way. Yeah. I mean, that's real simple
brunette.
Compared to characters, but you know what I mean? I wish characters were as simple as chocolate versus vanilla. Sometimes it's like that, but not always the case.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of the complexity of the or I like the Donovan phrase, the gift of a flower to a garden. So the gift of a flower to a garden, it's, we have so much diversity. I mean, just here in this group, you know, and each in our personal lives with the people around us, it's quite entertaining and really nothing to do, I guess, right?
Well, if there's things you want to do, there's things to do. Nothing happens on its own. It's just beingness is what's appearing as the doer.
Okay, so the distinction there of being and actualizing, it's almost like there's two processes, because we can be aware now, but then even this process of speaking is an engagement of, well, I'd use the word actualization. So yeah, doing, we have to.
This would be an actualization. This would be an actualization of it. Absolutely. Yeah.
And in that sense, going to the dentist or going to the changing the tire or the dirty diaper or speaking of God awareness, it's kind of all, you know, at the same level, really. I mean, there's preferences, but
it all comes back to that. Yeah. Whatever needs to be done will be done. You know what I mean?
Whatever needs to be done needs to be done.
The dishwasher's not going to load itself, people. You know what I mean? Who does that?
Okay, so the disgust or resistance then to that, like, oh God, the dishwasher, oh, the dirty diaper.
Yeah, that can totally happen.
Right.
It arises here sometimes.
Okay.
Especially when my little one wants to be held while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, how's that going to happen? Oh God, here we go. Look like an acrobat. Yeah. So yeah, natural emotions pop up. It's just, preference doesn't deny presence. Preference never covers over presence. So
it can.
In the unconscious space, totally. But what I'm saying is if you're lucid, it doesn't.
Yes.
So there can still be like, you know what, I don't want to fucking do this, but we got this. I'm a champion. Let's turn on the music and here we go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you just,
Right.
Yeah, it happens. But I'll also tell you too, there's things you let go of for something that really lights your heart on fire. So for example, just for this character, there may be days where it's like the house is a mess. I need to do house chores, but it's like, I want to write. Screw the house chores. Because if I did the house chores, I wouldn't write. You know what I mean? So there's still those types of things that appear too. And I just say, screw the house chores, I'm going to write today.
Okay, so that then appears as a choice.
Oh, there is a choice if I'm conscious. If I'm unconscious, then I would go directly into, I got to get the house clean. I've got to get all this done really quick.
Interesting. Yes. Yeah. That's what I call the talking mind. You run into people all the time that are just chattering minds, like the teeth chattering on the table, you know?
Yeah.
So, well, happy trails.
Well, cool, man. Thanks, Bruce. Good to see you.
Yeah. Good to see everybody. Appreciate everyone's input all the time. It's good. Always something. There's always something.
Tell the dog hi.
That was good, Bruce. Oh, I know what you guys were talking about, the arrogance. It seems to be more obvious to our relatives in a way because they knew us in a certain way, and all of a sudden there is this other.
Yeah.
I know you from
Yeah, that's
going,
usually, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
What
you are
happened?
that.
You're not a doormat anymore. You're not codependent anymore. What happened?
Yeah, it's like, boy, and they are challenging sometimes.
Yeah, I get it, man. That can be messy. Yeah, clearing that up. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
But it does seem
Because they're
like
being tested by the expectations. You know, they
absolutely.
want to see you the same way. And then when you morph or shift or change, it's like, wait, you stay the same. You stay the same. Don't you grow? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? So I get it, you know, and you're just like, so long. You know, I'm out of here. Peace. You do
Yeah.
you, I'll do me. I'll love you, but I gotta go. And that's just what you feel. You're like, I just gotta go. Can't stay in this anymore. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And you love them dearly. You want them. It's
Yeah,
like,
of course. Of course. But you also see
yeah,
what they need, so to speak. And you also know what you need. And that's true self-love and respect.
right.
You know, like, yeah. Because before we were all very conditioned into codependency, and I got to make you happy and me happy, especially with
Yeah,
family ties, and definitely with
absolutely.
certain cultures. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. So that can be a little mind-boggling too for the psyche as you're actualizing that. You know what I mean, and shifting things naturally. It can be a little, well, yeah. Did I just do that? Did that just happen? You know what I mean? There could be those types of afterthoughts that come in from your spontaneous confidence and movements, you know? Yeah. Be
Yeah.
interesting, the whole flip of the script.
Yeah. And they call you arrogant. Who do you think you are?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Anna, I have a question for you.
Hey, what's up? Did you have your hand
Yeah.
up? I'm so sorry if I didn't see it.
No, I did not. I did not.
Okay. Well,
I
what's up,
just,
man?
yeah, I was eager to ask you about, stress. I think in one of your conversations, you talk about the addiction to stress,
Yes.
or something like this. So, is that just another thing that I'm creating based on the stories that I have for myself, or I'm just curious to hear you speak about this. It'd be great.
Well, yeah. I mean, there can be stresses that come from a direct response. You know, like you're about to get in a car crash or something, adrenaline rushes through your body. Like there's those common stresses, but a lot of the times we have a lot of unconscious mental stresses of needing to be better, get over here, change this, do that, versus just recognizing what you're looking for is awareness, being conscious of yourself as totality. Like that's really what we're looking for, which diminishes a whole lot of stress, right? And then we can move from a very inspired, empowered space. So I would tell you to sit and observe the contents of your consciousness and see if that's what's causing the stress. Because you can tell instantly when you close those eyes, or even just notice, what am I thinking about? What am I feeling? You know, and you can tell what's pulling you. Is it inspiration or is it fear?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Good to see you. You're new here, so fresh face.
Yeah,
Lovely.
yeah, good to see you.
Yeah. I'm just giggling at Will's beautiful thumbnail photo. It's so cute. Okay.
The what?
Oh, your thumbnail photo's cute. With
Oh,
your guitar. Yeah. It's sweet.
that's my background that I'm trying to hang up. I'm almost ready to hang it up by the next time
It's sweet.
Yeah, it takes up the whole wall. It's kind of got the same blues like.
I would say, yeah. It looks a little similar. Very adorable. I
It's
love
more
it. Yeah. Uh-oh, he comes.
a Celtic knot thing or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's cool.
So I have a comment on inner dialogue. It's sort of
Mhm.
funny because one of the ways I experience it is it's like luckily I only have usually two voices in my head that are having a dialogue, not like hundreds. That would be bad. But anyway, I see it like sock puppets. Like I have the thoughts, but I realize they're from the same source. So it's like me talking with myself. I'm really aware of that the two voices are.
Do they diminish when you become aware of them, though? That's the main thing.
They diminish? What do you mean by that?
Do they disappear when you become alert? Or do they keep
Um,
chattering and dancing?
I think they're just more amusing, because then it's like
Oh, like
I'm just sort of playing with myself. Like maybe like when we were kids, we actually used to do little puppet shows like that, and you knew that it was a puppet, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's cute.
it's also not as lonely to have this inner dialogue, you know. It's like it's sort of like
Oh,
having
my love, but just being with yourself. I mean, there's so much to not be lonely about. Lonely's a condition. I
right.
mean, we are all alone. That's true. There is only one. But I mean, it's not a sad thing.
No, it's a companion though. It's like having a playmate sort of with all the time. But then it's
I
that
mean, but there's
control thing of trying to like figure things out. That's where the mind gets a little bit not as fun.
yeah, I mean, no, the mind's beautiful. There's beautiful things about it for sure. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's like a loneliness though. Loneliness really does go.
I always say there's a big difference between solitude and loneliness. If you're gonna use
Yeah,
words.
loneliness is kind of a lack feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much to do. There's so much to see. There's so much
Right.
curiosity. You know what I mean? And other versions of yourself to play with if you want that, obviously. But yeah, loneliness is nice too, though. And in the sense of silence, stillness, solitude, that's, oh my God, delicious, especially when you have kids. Like, it's amazing. Mhm. Mm.
There's the kitty. You're usually walking your dog. I haven't seen your dog in a while, Petra.
Switch it out for a black cat. Oh, hey, Karen. So sorry I didn't see your hand, but I see it now. What's up, girlfriend? How's it going?
Hey, I just wanted to say a suggestion that you made before has been like really helpful. And with like the conditioned body being kind of like, I just adopted a dog that went through abuse, and now I work with it in a way to let it know it's safe, but with the suggestion of being like infinity.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, and to really like just feel into that suggestion while trying to like hold space for the conditioned animal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you're talking about the dog you adopted, but as well as your body. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same. It's very much the same. Yeah.
So with I have chronic pain in my body that's like a manifestation of like PTSD, but to like be present with that too, and really like and allow and rest and explore that too is
Yeah.
like an, and it's
Yeah.
been neat to feel into that.
Beautiful.
And it's like, yeah,
No.
how you suggestion, and it's like, oh, this is just a suggestion I can explore.
Right.
Really
Yeah.
feel. And
Does
then
it feel
keep-
like things are dissolving? Does it feel like it's not choking you out as much? You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
more right now feels good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just giving things space really can shift things without messing with it. You know what I mean? But I'm sure as you're seeing with the dog that you have, what's the name of the dog, by the way? I'm just curious.
Well, dog was just like symbolic for my body. It was something you said.
Right.
Our
Right.
body-
But still the same, like complimenting the dogs the same way it was with your body. You know what I mean? That love, that support, that respect, that understanding of what it's gone through. You know, because like you know how you're talking to the dog, like it's okay, I love you, you're beautiful, or however you're talking to it. But those compliments are reinforcing the safety. You know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah.
And our body's always listening, you know, for safety. It's just we have to be aware in order to instill that safety. And even as we know, the frequency of awareness or presence alone will trump those distortions of our traumas and insecurities. It's just a very vast expansiveness. The closest word is love. And of which then fuels the compliments, which then fuels your natural training for your body and support for it. You know what I mean? Because you're tasting the infinity you are. You're tasting that presence that you are. Yeah.
Let Pippin say hello.
Hi, Pippin. What a cute name. You got gorgeous hair and you're blonde. Heck yeah.
We both, yeah, he is.
Oh my gosh. He's a doll. I like the ears. Yeah, they're sweet. We'll go you,
Well, they-
sister. Nice of you to do that for him. Yeah. And for yourself. Go you. All right, my beautiful friends. We're going to end it there for today. All right. But I'll have this up, you know, within about 2 hours. Okay. And we'll meet again next month. I am starting a 3-part series on YouTube, which I'll advertise to you guys first. It's still in the genesis. But yeah, stay tuned. I love you guys. And just remember, come back to yourself. All right. Take care now.
Thank you so much.
Have a great
Anna.
Sunday,
This is
Monday.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
All of you.
Happy
Mhm.
trails.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, Bruce.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.